What's up, everybody? Well, today I'm here to bring to you another vacuum that's in my vacuum collection. And as you may have guessed it, it's another Hoover Elite. Now, for those of you who probably don't know by now and are just tuning into the channel, or for those of you who are probably returning, probably know already that what I'm about to say. So if you're a recurring viewer, say it with me. I love Hoover Elites. That's right. I love them. They're just my all-time favorite vacuum, and I always try to snatch one up whenever a good-looking one comes across my path. And today I have a more basic, vintage Elite. What I have for your viewing pleasure today is a Hoover Elite 200. Now, you're probably watching this and thinking, wait, didn't you already make a video of that same vacuum? Well, yes, I did. But however, this is a different vacuum that happens to be the same model number as the other one. So, I initially had an Elite 200 that was featured on the channel that was actually owned by my place of work. I actually took it home with me one time to fix it up, refurbish it, and give it back to them, pretty much to spend some time with it just to make sure everything was all good to go. And of course I made the video on it. But ever since returning the thing, I've always wanted to have one of my own. And recently, after stumbling upon this on OfferUp, that wish finally came true. So now this is essentially my own Hoover Elite 200. And even though I've already featured the same model on my channel, I figured I'd go ahead and make another video of another one, since this one's all mine. Now, of course, this one, just like the other Elite 2 that I worked on for my work, was not in the best of state. Actually, it looked good, but the motor did need to be torn down and rebuilt. So I got that done and out of the way, so now here it is, ready to show to you guys. So let's go ahead and give a walkthrough of the cleaner. So this being one of the more basic of the Elites, it's got the standard handle grip. And being one of the more basic of the Elite style cleaners, it does have the standard top fill bag with the slide top. You just release this latch right here forward and you slide this off on either side to get access into your inner bag, which this right here is a HEPA cloth type A bag by Vacuum America Clean. Filters out much better than even the genuine paper bags do. And I have seen online there is some genuine A bags that are in HEPA cloth configuration. So I can imagine those are just as good, but these generic ones work fine for what they are. At least they offer better filtration, so I'm all in for that. So right down here you do have your top fill bag lettering on the front of the outer bag. I really do like this texture on the outer bag. And as we move along down here to the hood, it has this nice beautiful white color. It may show up as cream colored on camera, but that's because of one, the lighting in my room, two, the hood's a little sun faded over the years. So it may look cream colored on camera, but this is actually supposed to be white. But anyway, you do have edge cleaning on either side. Hoover Elite 200 labeling on the front. Hoover symbol right to the right. Automatic height adjustment, which basically means this has a fixed height position, so the brush will sits onto the carpet at whatever predetermined height you have, so it'll sit on the carpet and get the best cleaning performance. This is one of the more basic models that doesn't include carpet height adjustment. As you can see, it doesn't even have a headlight, so it's about as basic of an Elite as you can get. So let's go ahead and tip this thing on its back to show you the underside. Here is the brush roll that's in it. Single row, white bristle brush roll with very stiff bristles. And it's got the full length of bristles without the ingest bars on either side, except for the one running right down the center. That is one nice thing about these older Elites, is that they do not have these 3 ingest bars. So these older ones leave much better carpet lines. And this one is made after, or this may have been offered as a replacement, more likely than not, when they had the red bristle brush rolls. To which the white bristle ones are very good, and they honestly are a lot stiffer than the red bristle ones. But the thing I like about the red bristle brush rolls is, one, they're much more old school and vintage looking in these things, but the red bristles are much longer of what I've seen compared to these white bristles. But these actually work pretty good for what they are. And coupled to the fact that this has a fixed height position, so it sits on the carpet, brush roll completely on, this honestly cleans very good for what it is. Now, of course, since it lacks height adjustment, some carpets you may have difficulty pushing this on, but in the right setting, it'll do just fine. Oh, actually, let's go ahead and put this thing on its back to show you the model number. Oh, there's one thing I did when I did my motor rebuild. The original motor casing in this was completely disintegrated when I got it. Or at least when I took it off to try and service the motor, the whole housing just fell apart right in my hands. So I managed to find a spare housing from a later motor that was in bad shape, so I just used the casing off it and put it on this. This is the original numbers matching motor for this vacuum, I should add. But it just, now you have to deal with the fact that this has black plastic and it doesn't match the gray plastic like the rest of the cleaner. But now let's go ahead and tip this thing on its back to show you the model number. This is Hoover Cleaner model U4467. 120 volts, 60 hertz, 5 amps, bag type A. The belt part number is 38528-027. It is now 38528-040. And the serial date these is the first and second decodes the month, and third and fourth will decode the year of manufacture. So this was manufactured 10 of 90, so October of 1990. It's a little bit older than the other Elite 200 that I've featured on my channel of the same model number. Made by the Hoover Company of North Canton, Ohio, for household use only, made in the USA. That is one thing I love about these old Elites, is that they are made right here in the US. And some people think just because the cleaner is made of plastic, that means it's vulnerable and instantly going to fall apart. Yes, of course, the plastic does have faults where it eventually gets brittle and breaks as it ages, but contrary to today's Hoovers that are made of plastic, this is honestly much better built than Hoovers of today. I mean, look, I could literally twist the plastic, I barely feel it flex, and it just wants to rotate the cleaner with it. So, contrary to that belief, this is actually surprisingly pretty well built plastic for being a cleaner made entirely of plastic. So, let's go ahead and set this thing over here. Well, I'm going to vacuum into the middle and plug into the middle of my room to get an entire vacuuming shot in one take as long as I can. So anyway, let's release the cord. Unfortunately, it is not the longest of cord because this is a more basic model. And right here, down here is your power switch. typical Hoover Elite fare. It's a little plastic rod that runs down into where a main rocker switch is in the valley of the motor. One nice, interesting thing about these older Elites that have the gray bodies pre-1993 is that the side-mounted power switch is actually black instead of red that they would later develop when the color of the body switched to black. So that switch would have been red. But these black switches are nice so that the way you can easily spot where the switch is on the cleaner. Now let's go ahead and unravel the cord and plug this guy in. And now we will go ahead and turn this thing on and demo it for you guys so you can hear just how good this runs. Now, typical Elite fashion, this thing is pretty loud when it's running, but since this is a lower 5 amp motor and it doesn't produce as much noise as a later 7 amp version would, but it's still pretty loud though, but it's not that loud. But headphone users or those with sensitive hearing, I would still advise turning down your volume. But anyway, here we go. sounds pretty good. But before we end the video, let's go ahead and demonstrate the attachment converter that I actually have when I originally got my Hoover Elite 350. This is a special converter kit that Hoover made for their uprights. They have ones for specific models. This one happens to be for the Elite cleaners of the time. So this is essentially the way the Hoovers got their attachments back then. So how it attaches on these, you simply just put the converter and hinge it on right here, if I can do this on camera, and with some persuasion it latches right in place. And here is how you get your attachments. Now, because this vacuum is direct air, do not expect miracle suction from this, because direct airs are known to produce more airflow than suction. Case in point, but it's not entirely the vacuum's fault. This thing isn't sealed too great, so that is another reason why this doesn't have very good tool suction. I mean, you can hear it leaking all around there. But let's go and demonstrate all the tools. See, it has this nice little twist lock like the canisters do. One thing that's nice about these twist locks is because they have the little pad here on the top, you can actually use tools from a late model canister and they will work just fine. I'll go ahead and show you. Here's the crevice tool. Now let's go ahead and detach everything. And let's go ahead and pull the converter off. Not the best or effective way of getting onboard tools back then, but later Hoover would correct that by giving their high-end Elite models onboard tools, even though they still didn't work well. But it was much more convenient than this setup was back in the 80s to early 90s. Well, everybody, I hope you enjoyed this video on the Hoover Elite 200. Be sure and stay tuned, and don't forget to like, rate, comment, and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.